Hello, my dear students. Today I am here to give you a short summary of chapter number 1 of the NCERT book Footprints Without Feet. The name of the chapter is A Triumph of Surgery by James Herriot. A Triumph of Surgery is about the small dog Tricky. Out of love for the dog, his mistress, Mrs. Pumphrey, tended to overfeed the pet. Gradually, Tricky became obese and unhealthy. He had hardly exercised or went out for a walk due to his bloated structure. His lack of movement worried Mrs. Pumphrey. Soon, she consulted Mr. James Herriot, a veterinary surgeon, for treatment of her lethargic dog. Mr. Herriot was shocked to see Tricky's condition and took him to the hospital. He knew Mrs. Pumphrey's overindulgence would never let her pet dog lead a healthy lifestyle. He took the dog along with him and put him on a hospital bed. The dog did not move for the first 2 days and did not eat any food either. On the third day, Tricky went outside and played with other bigger dogs in the hospital. He ate the food that was given to him and also licked the bowls of other dogs for the leftover food. It so happened because Tricky was kept only on water for the first few days. Mr. Herriot gave a balanced diet to Tricky along with plenty of physical exercise. Gradually, Tricky's condition started improving and he started fighting with other dogs for the meals. His mistress, Mrs. Pumphrey, was greatly concerned about the well-being of the little Tricky. To provide adequate nutrition, she would send eggs so that her pet did not starve and received enough energy to recover from the treatment. However, James Herriot and his parents would eat the eggs daily for the breakfast. Further, Mrs. Pumphrey also sent bottles of wine to enrich Tricky's blood. But this again was consumed by Mr. Herriot and his other partners. He felt sorry for eating the food that was sent by Mrs. Pumphrey for Tricky, but they could not be wasted either. It was not suitable for the dog, who was now getting back on his sweets. As the little dog started showing signs of improvement, the vet decided to call Mrs. Pumphrey over, for she was worried about her pet's condition. When she arrived in the hospital to fetch her pet, Tricky was very happy and jumped into her. Mrs. Pumphrey was filled with gratitude towards Mr. Herriot for curing her dog and felt she could not thank him enough for the miracle he had done for the dog. He felt this was indeed a triumph of surgery. So the message this chapter gives us is overindulgence and its consequences. Love and care should not lead to a situation wherein the giver and the receiver suffer mentally and physically. Anything in excess tilts the equilibrium, thus causing chaos. Thank you.